And now with us is film director Angela Wanjiku Wamai. She's here in Paris to present her first feature film to be released in French cinemas next week. The story of Geoffrey, haunted by his past, forced to return to his village after years in prison. The village is called Shimoni, like the name of the movie, and the village where his childhood tormentor still lives. First, thank you very much to be with us. And first I want to say, what a beautiful film, beautiful photography, and to tell such a dark story. So how did you come about to introduce this story?
Oh, the journey has been long because I feel like the film was started in my head many times. But the very, very beginning was an image of this film that I had. And I wasn't really sure. I think I was just thinking about something. And I got this image of a woman holding onto a paper that was burning. And the flame just kept burning to her fingers, but she wasn't letting it go. And I was like, what is this image? And then I started thinking
Geoffrey.
about, like, I think the things that we play around with or we hold so dear, these things that are consuming us and we're just not able to let go. And I guess that's where it all started, and I started thinking about what this could be about, and Geoffrey came to life in my head, and this man who was dealing with a secret. And I guess that's where the beginning was, but there have been very many beginnings to this film, yeah.
And as I said, we understand throughout the film what's haunting Geoffrey. It's some kind of sexual abuse that took place when he was a child, and it's barely mentioned in the movie. And yet it takes really the main position in the ghost, I would say, dominates the film.
Yeah.
So why did you choose that approach of being so subtle, so discreet? Is it modesty, decency, consideration for your audience?
Yeah, and I like that you've used the word silence, because this was like a really powerful force behind the film. Because the thing with trauma, especially like sexual trauma when it comes to men, is that they don't talk about it very much. And so this ghostliness of the issue is something that was very interesting to me. The silence that surrounds it, especially in a place like Kenya, it's imposed on men to, this is not something we talk about. Yeah. So I found this very powerful, very potent, to speak very loudly about something but not to say anything. And I really tried to play with this idea, but also I kind of liked the subtlety, because it I think it felt true to the circumstances. And also I really did want to not confront the issue itself and be voyeuristic about it, show everything, but to play with this, the emotion, the residue of these things. This, because he was abused young, when he was much younger. He's an older man now, so he's dealing with the sort of the memory of this.
The memory, the anger,
these emotions that are with him. And I liked the idea that he wasn't able to articulate all these emotions, but you could see them. You could literally feel them in his skin. Yeah.
And I said in the beginning, I talked about the photography and also the aesthetic of the movie. It's really beautifully filmed. And when I watched the film, I was thinking about French directors, or maybe a way of Japanese, when you really take the time to get into the emotions. What is your influence?
First of all, thank you very much for saying this about the film. I mean, I must honestly say a huge influence for me was, I studied in Cuba. And so I have a lot of Cuban, I guess, directors sort of influencing how I think about film, because that's how I learned film and where I learned film. So there was that. I love Ingmar Bergman's work. And I guess also his sort of the heaviness of the stories that he tells. So it's quite varied. There's also a lot of, there's folklore in the film, yeah, and a story that is a story that I used to hear when I was a child and stayed with me. And I kind of liked, that really influenced the idea of the film also, these ogres that were very scary to me as a child. And I kind of wanted to bring them back in a almost physical way. So this light and dark, because all the times that my grandmother told me these stories or told us these stories, we were in her house where there was no electricity.
The story of the basket.
And many
the monster
other...
and
Exactly, the story of the basket and many other terrifying stories that we were told. There was usually no light, and so it was around those kerosene lamps. So there was this play of light and shade and shadow. So this I guess subconsciously also influenced the way I saw the film and this story, this folklore. So so I guess there are many, but yes, those I can say are clearly my influences. Yeah.
And also the movie is in English and also in Kikuyu.
Yes.
Does the Kikuyu culture as well play a role for you, the way you work on the movie? Yes.
When I thought about the first idea of the film, I never imagined it in another language, because it was set in my village, my home, like where my parents grew up. Yeah, so I never ever imagined it in another language. So it wasn't something I guess thought about. It was, of course, it's gonna be in Kikuyu. How else would everyone else speak? Yeah, so yeah,
So, and just to get back to the main topics, which is very sensitive, obviously, how was the film received in Kenya?
I think it was pretty great. We've had some really interesting discussions around the film, but also we have been involved in a prison program in a prison called Shimoni, where we've been able to have extensive conversations with prisoners, build, I guess, like a community around the film. So it's been... I think it's gone places I never thought it would. So I'm really, really happy that we've been able to open up important conversations in Nairobi and outside Nairobi.
That's a good thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, please go see this great movie called Shimoni. And this concludes our edition of Eye on Africa. Thank you for watching.